Hello, Fiona.
Hi, hello.
How's it going?
I'm tired today, but it's going fine. It's going good. It's going good.
Have you got
Yeah,
a nice warming cup of tea?
I do. Hold on. And I have a friend who we haven't seen for a few weeks.
Oh, is it your octopus?
No,
No,
it's my
your
little
little
man.
dude.
It's my little dude, yeah. I have a tea called All Nighter, which has yerba mate and it has coffee beans and it has tea in it, or green tea, I think it is, all in it, and other stuff.
Fantastic.
We'll
No.
see.
I'm on my oldie special, my Mediterranean orange again. Just very nice
Is
and
that
warm.
was that a yogi one? I've forgotten.
No, just oldie. Oldie special.
I was thinking like, sorry, never mind. I was thinking oldie and goldie kind of thing.
Ah,
Oldie like me, not oldie, not
we've moved on from fossils.
and pronunciation. So, how pronunciation affects
Mhm.
comprehension as well.
No.
No, that was incorrect. Just differences of pronunciation.
Ah, it gave us a bit of a giggle.
Yes.
And kind of that links quite nicely to today's topic, the idea around giggling and brain stimulation and all the sorts of little chemical
Yeah.
reactions that happen in the brain
And connection.
and connection.
Connection, yeah. Having a laugh with somebody is connecting, isn't it? Yeah, we're going to be talking about the three happy drugs. That's what I keep calling them. I've given plenaries on this recently. Well, recently, I say recently, 4 months ago, 5 months ago. And I'll be doing a talk on a similar subject fairly soon. And I keep saying happy drugs, but they're not really drugs, they're hormones. So I'm not talking about happy drugs. I'm talking about happy hormones.
Yes, we do not condone the use of drugs in the English language classroom.
Exactly, yes, no. Love is a drug. We are talking.
Fab. So you mentioned there that we're going to be chatting about three drugs. So remind me
You're
again.
doing it now.
Three chemicals, three chemicals.
Chemicals. Oh gosh. Yes. Oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine.
Mhm.
And the least of these is dopamine. All
And
right.
that's the only one that I can say anything about. So I'll let you crack on.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. That's the one that people hear about, or know more about, and is more prevalent in contemporary culture in many parts of the world. And in many households. And hold up, where have I put mine? Here's mine. This is responsible for a lot of it. I'm actually going to put mine over there. Get it away from me while we're talking about this. But the other two are possibly, well, not possibly, they're more effective in the classroom than dopamine, definitely.
Because is
Um,
dopamine kind of that more kind of instant hit?
mhm. Yeah, it is. It's the little, and it's addictive, and it's like, yeah, it's the kind of, um, it's like gamification, when something becomes a game, in some ways it's good, but in others it's it's too addictive. And dopamine has optimum levels. So these three chemicals, um, they all facilitate memorization. They all facilitate the memory. They support remembering and recall and storage of memories and stuff. Um, all three of them. But dopamine has an optimum level, and after that, this has been researched. Um, So I gave a plenary in this in October, and the research was still ongoing in September, October, early October. So I should actually check if they've got the results. But I mean, all these studies are going to be longitudinal anyway. You can't sort of study the effects on a brain from one day to the next. So, but anyway, it's ongoing. And they already know that the too much dopamine is detrimental to memory. They're not quite sure why. They being the neuroscientists, the researchers. They're not sure why, and that's what they're studying. So it's like dopamine is good, 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 and because of the sense of reward, and the amygdala like reward. Caudate nucleus quite likes reward, like solving challenges. Um, But once it gets too high, then it's actually detrimental.
I wonder, and this is from an absolute layman coming here, whether it's to do with the fact that you're craving the dopamine, you're craving the reward more than
Yeah.
actually focusing on the process.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, it's the types of motivation, performance, and mastery. Yeah,
I say
mastery
yes,
is
but
like
enlighten me.
okay. So think about playing the piano. My grandmother was a pianist and an organist, and so she played. She had mastery of playing the piano and the organ. I can play a couple of songs because I know where to put the fingers and whatever to play. I don't know, Kumbaya, because she taught me. All right. So that's performance. It's only one thing. I don't know how to play the piano,
Mhm.
but I can sit at a piano and play a couple of songs. Nobody does it better from The Spy Who Loves Me. I can play that one on a piano as well. Um, Pick up the guitar. You've got your virtuoso guitarist has mastery. But a lot of us can pick up a guitar and play the introduction to Smoke on the Water. That na 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 na. So it's the difference between small achievements, mini goals.
Mhm.
Let's call them micro goals. Sounds better than mini goals. Short-term goals or small goals, and actually learning to do something.
Mhm.
Um, before we came on to the recording, before we started recording, you were talking about dopamine and housework. Do you want to tell us about that?
Well, no,
And then
just
we'll compare
because,
it.
yeah, because I did a lesson last month and it was a video that I found. It's springtime, we were talking about spring cleaning, and it was talking about the dopamine hit that you get
Mm.
from tidying, um,
Yeah.
because you've done something, you've achieved something,
Yeah.
and then
And
it
you
was
can
also
see
talking
it.
about being in control, taking back control of things.
It is. It's back in control, and also you can see what you've done.
Hmm.
Where there was mess, there is now no mess.
Hmm.
Where your windows were dirty, now there are clean windows. It's a sort of a visible, almost instant achievement, and you can and it's a tick on your to-do list. Um, but mastery would be like I still remember learning how to iron
Hmm.
and learning how to make a bed back in the days of sheets. One of my aunts was a nurse, and so learning to do those
Hospital corners.
hospital corners, exactly. Yes, learning to do that. That's mastery. That's a skill. That's long term.
Hmm.
And that's the problem with performance over mastery, that performance isn't long term. You clean your house, how long does it take doing a mess again?
Not long
You
enough.
know? Well, this is it. So dopamine is the performance one essentially, and it's the short term. And ultimately what you remember is the the game, but not the content of the
Yeah,
game. The
yeah.
You remember going, yay, but you remember the feeling of having the clean house, but you don't quite remember all the things that you did to get there.
Hmm. And so I
And
guess,
it's
well, no, I was
yes.
just going to say, translating that into the classroom, it's then when we gamify things, how do
Uh-huh.
we then ensure that what we're doing sticks more than yeah, got a point.
Would I say, I mean, take Duolingo, and yeah, I'm sure it's very good for some people, but um, I think it was before IATEFL last year, I put out a call to like all my friends who are not in ELT and asked, had anybody been learning any languages on Duolingo? Um, and could they give me any wacky sentences that they had encountered? And there were things like I can't remember something about I prefer bad boys or something was one in Korean. Somebody else said something about I give my bananas to my giraffe. It was it was these sort of sentences that you think, okay, fine. But people were doing it because then you get your points and your little
Mm.
avatar does something or other, and it's not necessarily useful. And 2 weeks later, they don't remember how to say I usually give bananas to my giraffe. But in that moment, they
Mm.
did, and they got their point, and they got their whatever it was. Sorry, I've never used Duolingo, as is probably obvious. Um, but That's the thing. You're kind of driven by the accumulating points. You see
Mm.
with Wordle, people online when they do Wordle, they post less so now, but that kind of achievement of keeping your streak going rather than what were the words that actually got you there.
Yeah. Mm.
Um, anyway, that's dopamine. So, I mean, it's common sense as well. Don't get your students too excited because they don't actually remember the content. They remember the game, but not the content. Um, so, although dopamine can be positive in a certain measure, is not as effective as serotonin and oxytocin. And serotonin and oxytocin are the two main reasons that I don't think, don't quote me on this 30 years from now, I don't think AI will ever fully take the place of human teachers.
Hmm. Tell us
Exactly.
more.
Dopamine, AI can generate dopamine fairly easily by creating games and sense of achievement. The other two, serotonin means getting outside, means being out in the fresh air. That's what we talked about a few, like, I don't know, a few weeks ago. I don't remember what episode it was, around about number 5. We talk about English out and about,
Hmm. Hmm.
and that's serotonin. So it's the going outside and observing and like feeling the air on your skin and it's chilly today and all that kind of thing. So that's the serotonin one, sunlight. Um, and that triggers memory, triggers the senses as well, so triggers memory. And then oxytocin is proximity to other human beings. Exactly. We're
I
only
have
about
seen
10
that one,
days
yeah.
away from Valentine's Day, so there's oxytocin in the air everywhere I look around.
Yeah. Yep, 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 yep.
And it's
Just
been proven, it's actually proven, that when you are physically close to a person, even if you gently touch them or hold somebody's hands,
mhm.
oxytocin is released.
Mm.
And being close to your teacher, particularly if you like them. No, no, seriously, it's another good reason for positive relationships in the classroom rather
Mhm.
than the slightly more traditional distance ones.
And I
Being
wonder
being
as
human, it boils down to being human, oxytocin, being there, being present, being a person that will trigger oxytocin in your students so that they learn.
I wonder as well, thinking about serotonin and oxytocin, the impact of online learning,
Mm,
because like I've certainly noticed, I find things a lot less memorable now,
yeah,
attending online webinars. I find that content much less memorable than if I go to an in-person event. And I
no,
wonder whether
definitely, yeah,
it might be the same for our students
yeah, yeah, I
or
think
whether
so.
for them, uh, I wonder as well whether it's like, and I've said this before, that the kind of this is my life now. For other people who aren't spending so much time learning online, whether it's different for them and, this for kind of 2 hours a week is hopefully more memorable, because they're also experiencing other environments for other things as well.
I think if you're teaching online, you probably need to compensate for the lack of oxytocin in some ways by using movement, sensory stuff,
Hmm.
because it's the same kind of parts of the brain. Um, and another thing about research, so they've done research on babies and children, and discovered that the mother's voice, just the voice, will trigger oxytocin. Um, and of course, baby's been inside mother unless it's an adoptive mother, but even so, the relationship. I don't know statistics on adoptive mothers as well. The researchers have said mothers, but not entirely sure why they didn't check it out on fathers as well. Anyway, that close relationship where a voice, where the relationship is positive, just the voice becomes a strong positive association. Then even over the phone,
Hmm.
hearing the voice will release oxytocin, not as high as being with the mother. And say it's mother. The research has been done on babies and mothers, but I suspect that that is also true with other strong positive bonds.
Hmm.
Um, key on the keyword they're positive. Um, and I mean, if you have a good relationship with your mom, as I did when she was around, you know when you're feeling down, calling your mom is kind of a thing to do, isn't it? And it's not just the advice, sometimes it's just hearing the voice saying, "Hi, mom," and then getting the voice back. I mean, I really miss that.
Hmm.
And then seeing your mom as well. I mean, I get a bit of it from my dad, but it's different, you know. But and so I think chances are strong relationship, if you've met your students face to face at any point as well. So in the context where you might have met them and then shift online afterwards, or hybrid, blended, or any of these variations of face to face and online. If you can meet them face to face and online, um, you're still releasing oxytocin.
Hmm.
But if you can't meet them, if you build a strong bond and you allow space for like drop-in sessions. During the pandemic, we did drop-in sessions, and I had spent more time with my students in the drop-ins than in the actual lectures. I remember that, but it meant that we had a strong bond.
Hmm.
And I think that will also trigger or release oxytocin. But I would also think you've got to do a lot more. But you do anyway because of the two-dimensionality of the whole thing. More sort of movement and visualization and stuff.
And do you
But yeah,
think as well with the visualization, would that work in terms of the serotonin if you can get the students imagining being outdoors on a
should do.
cold day, feeling like the
Yeah,
wind on their cheeks?
should do. You caught me out here. I'm not sure, but what I do know is that the brain per se cannot tell the difference between when we're dreaming, imagine, thought and reality.
Hmm.
It's other parts of us we say that we know, okay, I'm awake, therefore this is real.
Hmm. And
Or so, and that's why when some people have a stroke, they lose the capacity to distinguish between what is thought and dream and what is really happening.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so that would suggest to me anyway, the, the answer to your question is yes. It
Oh,
might be lower levels of serotonin because there won't be a physical
yeah.
trigger on your skin and on,
But
but
I've seen as
it
well
should trigger some.
people,
Mm.
yeah, I've seen as well people talking about research that's been done in terms of the positive impact of being in nature, but
Yeah,
that even just having pictures of nature or watching nature documentaries has that
yeah,
positive impact
and
on us as
art as
well.
well.
Hmm.
And a lot of art is, nature, but then there's also color and stimulus is the senses. To what extent it's serotonin, what it sense. But then serotonin is partly stimulation of the senses, so it's all interlinked. You can't talk about the brain and
Yeah,
compartmentalize. It's all interconnected.
yeah,
It's all
yeah.
it's all one big messy blob
Hey,
in every sense.
fantastic. Well, thank you very much. I feel like I've had a few chemical hits
Well, this
during
is
our
it,
chat.
but also it's, still be human, still be human,
Yeah.
I think I'd like to come back to this another time, actually.
Sure
There's more
will.
to be said. There's more to be said.
I wonder if we'll ever get to an episode where we go, now coming back, because
I
so far it's all
know, but I
been,
so coming. This is so whooshing into my head like there's this book I've read and it's about consciousness and that's what we're talking about as well because that's another thing that makes us human and that as teachers we can tap into and tells us or gives us information that we can utilize in the class to maximize learning and da, da, da. So we definitely have to come back to this.
Fantastic. Well, until the next cuppa conversation, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you
Yes,
again
like and
soon.
subscribe. Bye.